Well, my name's Ola. I've actually transitioned from teaching to tech sales in the past 6 months, nearly 6 months, and that has been a roller coaster of a journey.
Yeah.
But I've enjoyed it so far. It's been a great journey, and with the likes, meeting the likes of yourself has actually helped. That journey, and now I'm settling down slowly.
Yeah.
A lot of learning, but getting there slowly.
It's amazing, like seeing you in the flesh, because obviously, you can do so much talking online. Actually seeing you here, smashing it. We'll go into like how the roller coaster's been. But talk to me about your journey before Entr Tech. So you were.
So I was a PE teacher.
Yeah.
And literally focused on PE teaching, etc. Been a teacher for about 7-8 years. I've actually always had intention of leaving teaching after 10 years after becoming a teacher.
Really?
Just to kind of like step out and out of my comfort zone, because I've been around young people, coaching, teaching, etc. for a long time. So I had that intention, but then life kind of changed a little bit. I thought I'd start the journey a lot sooner and start to kind of like slowly prep myself. Then I came across Entr Tech. I did love my teaching job. There's no doubt about that. And obviously from what you just talked about, the viral video, you can really tell that I enjoyed my job. But the thing was, I was planning to set myself up for a certain type of lifestyle. And no offense to teaching wasn't going to grant me that opportunity. And I had to kind of like come across, come within myself and find that opportunity, that way to just step out and do something completely different. And obviously came across Entr Tech.
Yeah.
And you guys gave me the, what's the saying? You can take a
horse water.
There you go. And I had to drink, and and I think one thing I remember where everything changed for me was that what's it called? The BT group
in person session.
Yeah,
really.
And meeting the likes of Waj kind of changed a little bit. It gave me a bit of an insight into what I'm getting myself into.
Yeah.
And obviously, Entr Tech is an investment that I was like, don't wanna,
For sure.
But meeting the likes of Waj in that space, gave me a bit of understanding of what I'm getting myself into, and I think it still sticks with me till today, that phrase, remember your why. And I think till today, my why is still kind of like, what's driving me at the moment. And I've got a baby coming up along the way. So that's nice. My why is now,
Yeah, feeding another mouth. That's the biggest why you can get. Yeah.
So, but no, it's been a good journey. And now I'm with Flexera software, working around tech sales. And that in itself is a bit of a jump.
Yeah.
Within 3 weeks of starting, already flying out to Chicago for, sales kickoff.
Sick. And
dealing with Americans is like a whole different world to me. I was like, okay, time out, guys.
The energy is
just too much for me.
Yeah.
But you get to meet the other people on the team, because it's quite a global team. You meet each other every Friday morning online, but to actually meet them physically is quite, and I'm learning from a lot of them at the moment.
Amazing.
There's a lot of experience and a lot of young ones in there, so it's quite a balanced environment.
For sure, lots to pick upon. I think the best thing about tech sales is they pay you and they teach you at the same time.
Yeah.
So you're constantly learning about the industry you're selling into.
Absolutely.
You're learning about sales. You're upskilling yourself on human connection. Like there's so much that goes into your self-development when you're in the industry.
Yeah.
Which is great. And also traveling. Like when I was younger, I was flown out to New York. I've been to Chicago as well. So how do you find Chicago? Because there's quite a good.
It was literally middle of January. It was freezing.
Yeah.
Never felt cold like that before.
Yeah.
And
try some of the pizza.
Oh, it was horrendous.
It was the deep dish.
It was horrendous.
Really?
Never gonna try again. But no, Chicago was beautiful. It was a good environment. The thing is, didn't get the chance to explore it too much, because it was literally
busy.
work.
Back to
it
back.
was literally back to back, 9 till 5. By the time you kind of settle down, it's, you want to catch a breath and rest. And
for sure.
So.
And someone listening into a sales kickoff, what does that day look like when you're coming in?
Feels like a long time ago now. It's literally 9 a.m. You've got the entire company in one big conference room.
Yeah.
And just like I said, the CEO and the CIOs and everyone just literally coming in with the energy and while you're trying to, drink all your coffee to keep awake, and they're just literally like buzzing. I don't really know what they're on.
The jet lag, you're trying to keep up
exactly.
with it.
And the thing is, by the time you settle down from the jet lag, it's time to come back to the UK again.
Yeah.
Because it was literally there for 4 days.
Yeah.
So didn't really get a chance to recover until I got back home.
Yeah.
Back to the UK.
And the evenings are quite sociable, as in like you're going out and having long
good food.
Yeah.
In the evenings. I remember that quite well.
Yeah.
But in terms of, just general talking about, the motion for the year and where they're at, what they want to be, and who they want to knock off the ladder to kind of like climb up next.
Yeah.
So, but to do that with so much energy was quite entertaining for myself.
For sure.
But, it was good fun.
Yeah. And do they do president's clubs? So if you're a top performer, they fly you out somewhere?
Yeah, so you had quite a few SDRs that are, smashing it the year before, and they're going to somewhere in Italy, can't remember now.
Nice.
Looked really good, and, that's another drive and incentive to kind of like, for myself to, look forward to as well, to be, achieve those high numbers at the moment. And
talk to me about the software you're selling. What industry are you selling into?
So we're selling to a lot of IT industry, whether public sectors, whether, private sectors, and it's more around focusing around, IT asset management, software as a service or SaaS, just creating visibility around, different IT estates.
Yeah.
And right now it's still a lot of learning for me because that's an industry that I've never been part of.
But it's huge, isn't it?
I mean,
when you look under the hood.
The last time I'd done anything to do with IT learning was probably when I was in year 9.
Yeah.
So at the moment, there's a lot of like learning the product, learning on the job. But like I said, I'm quite lucky to have a really good manager. Quite lucky to have surrounded by a very good support network within my team that asking any. There's no question that's stupid. There's no stupid questions. It's just a case of they understand that where I've come from, and quite a few of them have actually come from that direction as well.
Nice.
So they're able to relate in that sense, and that helps a lot as well.
Amazing. And what I'd say in terms of like the SDR role and the account executive role, what are the high performers making in the business?
That's a good question. In terms of how much they're making or what they're making, I can't really say too much about the numbers, but I know there are quite a few people that are on, good numbers.
Yeah.
And the thing with my organization is they actually acquired another organization.
Okay, nice.
So there were people that were let go and they were brought back within a few months. So I think the oldest person in that team, in my team, is probably around 18 months. So everyone's quite fresh, even though some of them have been there before with the previous organization. Yeah. But on paper, everyone's quite fresh. Yeah. Yeah.
Got it. And the SDRs, are they hiring from different backgrounds?
Yeah,
quite
100%.
Quite open to career switches? Yeah. Like what kind of backgrounds?
Yeah, so it is a lot of different backgrounds. I think I'm actually the one that was probably done career switching.
Yeah.
Because I remember my interview quite well, and that was a whole different hoo-ha itself. Yeah. Because I was in Mexico on a holiday.
Tell us about that.
I had a first stage interview with the talent acquisition manager.
Like a screen?
Yeah, just a screen. And he reached out to me saying, you know what, we like you, we want you for the second stage interview. So I knew I was going on holiday for 2 weeks. And I had to pack my laptop, my suit, because I like to dress smart on interviews. Yeah. Just to, give a first time impression. And he returned the email saying to me, you know what, and another reason why I do that is just in case I've applied for other places, just in case anyone calls me for an interview, I can actually just jump on an interview, regardless of the time difference. And he said to me, my now manager wants to have a chat with me and see what I'm about. And I had to work at the time difference. It would have been around 3 a.m. in Mexico at that time. But I didn't want to. I felt a bit anxious to say, I'm on holiday.
Yeah, I love that mindset. I love that mindset.
That didn't really sound right to me because they might think I'm not taking this. I don't know.
Urgency.
But I just had to wing it and said, you know what, can we do the next day? Because I was going to drop in. I was going to be flying in on a Thursday, but the interview was on a Friday morning.
Interesting.
It said it wasn't available on a Friday. Can we do Thursday? Luckily, within 5 hours, got back to me again saying, you know what, we can do Friday. So it all worked out. Nice. Landed Thursday afternoon. And I just had to, forget about the jet lag and prep myself as much as possible. And, the rest is history now. So,
yeah. Great stuff. And what advice would you give to someone who's a teacher getting into tech sales? Because there's a lot of transferable skills. You might want to talk about transferable skills from teaching and, getting into tech sales. So what advice would you give to people?
Don't be scared about it.
Yeah.
Just literally dip your toe in the water and, let it go off the shackles and go and enjoy it. It is actually a good opportunity to, as long as you are around the right, on the right path and you've got the right advice.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important. And that's what I got from you guys, the right advice. Because there are a lot of people that attempt to go into tech sales. There are a lot of people that were actually on that journey with myself through Entr Tech, and I'm not sure if they are still, in a stable situation at the moment. So my advice is, there's a lot of transferable skills coming from teaching, which I didn't really think about until I actually, saw my CV and everything and remade and so on and so forth. Yeah. And I actually started to delve into what sales is about. And, in teaching, every day is sales. Yeah. Whether you're dealing with parents, stakeholders, and the principal, the kids. So there's different ways. It's just a case of thinking deeply how that looks like in the actual sales industry. Absolutely. And I think that's very, very important to anyone that's doing teachers that are actually planning to take that leap. Yeah,
100%. And where do you see your journey evolving in tech sales? Like, what's the goal for you? Because people will go down different career paths.
100%. Well, with myself personally, like I said, my why is what drives me. Yeah. And I think I'm giving myself a certain period of time within a year or 18 months just to master, the product of wherever company I'm at the moment, understand what sales industry actually requires of me, and then hopefully step up to like a senior SDR role. Yeah. And then start looking at probably other departments within the company, like, the AEs and the renewals, etc. Nice. Because where I'm at the moment, it actually all worked out perfectly for me because it's down the road from my home. Nice. It's about 12 minutes drive. Oh, so I don't think I see myself wanting to specifically step out of that zone anytime soon.
A kid on the way.
Exactly. So, it all works out.
And good culture?
Pardon?
Good culture. Good
100% good culture.
Any perks?
Fantastic company. So it's just a case of giving myself a bit of time to understand what sales industry actually requires properly. Yeah. And then I can start to think about, the AE roles and taking those steps.
Nice. And in terms of, this is a question I've started to ask more, especially on this podcast. Do you guys use any AI in the role? Or
yes, we do.
Are they open to AI? Any training and onboarding in terms of?
Yeah, they are open to a lot of AIs. We do use a lot of Copilot, and the company itself, it's heavy on AI, and they're trying to build their own AI platform as well for their customers. Interesting. So that's something that we are allowed to explore as much as possible, obviously within reason, controlled, governed. And
in terms of the day-to-day, talk me through your 9 to 5, or just briefly, not to put you on the spot.
No, 100%. I'm open to that. 9 to 5, start at 9 o'clock, Monday to Friday. Friday morning is generally the team meetings. Sometimes can end up being a chit chat, and there's quite a lot of praise each week as well. It's essentially, I've got my order of the day personally, where I've got all my calls that I try to get through, before lunchtime, if as much as I can. And then it's just a case of, going through emails for the rest of the afternoon, and then when inbound comes in, because we are inbound and outbound based. Nice. So, chasing the inbound constantly. Outbound is something that I'm constantly working on at the moment, and just making sure I'm able to land that outbound opportunities when they come through. Yeah. And it's just a case of, being in constant communication with my AEs as much as possible. And I have had, that's something that actually I had to adapt to very quickly, even though I'm aware of it, that was going to happen. But actually happening to you, when you get the no's, and you got, some people that can be quite rude and etc. And, of course, a bit over the top. Yeah. Simple no, I'm fine with, but the rudeness and the swearing is what I'm a bit like, just cut the, that's where we draw the line. So you do have that, but very rare. Very rare.
And in terms of like metrics, are they asking you to do a certain amount of calls a day, or?
Not crazy amount, luckily. With the likes of us, I think we're focused on, doing 20 calls a day. Nice. And doing about a certain amount of emails as well. Nice. So
and LinkedIn
is that too. Yeah. It is quite achievable. Yeah. And it's just a case of I think weekly try to get 100 calls in. Nice. So it's not really crazy amount. Yeah. It's a case of knowing your sources properly and reaching out to as much people as possible.
Really cool. And then in terms of qualifying leads, is it booking a certain amount on the calendar for your AE to qualify, or do you qualify?
So it's more booking a certain amount. So tend to qualify yourself, and then pass on to your AEs, and then they can do the demos and the further qualification if needed.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling quite lucky that a lot of my qualifications at the moment I've gone straight to demo rather than re-qualifying.
Perfect.
So those are some of the praise that I've got at the moment. That I'm kind of holding on to as a proud moment coming into an industry where I haven't really done such things before. So
you're getting quality leads.
There you go.
That's all they want,
so
right?
That's right. So that's quite important.
Yeah.
And just getting stuck in as much as possible, not being shy about it. Really.
Remind me, you're a football fan.
Unfortunately, I am
Arsenal.
I am a current Chelsea fan.
Chelsea, I was at Chelsea.
Well. But Liverpool and Chelsea are on the.
Exactly. Luckily, we're going to get top 4. We're waiting for that. You're playing tonight.
Yeah, so I need to get back home and make sure.
Who's it tonight again?
Brighton.
Brighton.
That's a big game.
Brighton away or
away? So I have a feeling it's going to be a Brighton win.
Yeah, let's see. I've got a few Brighton players in my fantasy football and Palmer. So yeah. And then the funny thing to touch on last is you didn't realise this, but you went viral on social media because Ola's students came across his TikTok and they went mad.
I hope that this podcast and there's going to be another viral.
Yeah, hopefully RedTech as well. But you're probably one of the most you must be one of the most loved teachers in London. No, honestly, everyone was in there. Sir, come back. You're there like, sir, come back.
I appreciate it.
That's so nice. Honestly,
I've said to them I'll come back one day, but not yet.
And what kind of teaching were you doing? Was it sports as well?
I was a PE teacher. I was a sports teacher. Yeah. So, I guess we are one of the most loved teachers out there in terms of, I do miss it to an extent, constantly waking up early, coaching football and different sports and taking them on trips and taking them to their different fixtures, etc. But I have to put myself first.
For sure, 100%. And would you say the stress levels have gone up slightly more or still pretty...
I want to say it's completely different type of stress level. What I'm more focused on now is not what I was focused on back then. And I think it's quite healthy for myself, and it's quite a balanced stress level at the moment.
Yeah, nice.
Nothing too over-exhausting.
Yeah.
And it's just different stress
I guess physically quite drained from being a teacher, right?
Going from... Technically, I feel like I'm doing 12 hours sometimes being as a teacher, waking up at 6, coming back home at 6, 7 in the evening is quite, but at the moment it's a different type of stress. That's manageable, I guess.
Good stuff, 100%. Yeah. Well, congrats on the new one on the way. Looking forward to catching up, hopefully in 6 months, 12 months time, and seeing the journey develop. Really passionate about parents in tech and career switches, so keep smashing, and thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you guys.
Cool.
Thank you.